Hello students, in this video I am going to start your next chapter, chapter number 10th, simple interest and compound interest. And according to the new reduced syllabus, only its second exercise means its 10.2 exercise are in your syllabus. So now we are going to learn only its 10.2 exercise. Okay, before starting the exercise, before starting the sums, first of all we have to understand some important terms related to this chapter. Okay, the first term is the principal or the sum. Okay, now see this one, the principal or the sum. So the money borrowed or the lent out of a certain period of time is called the principal or the sum. So it is abbreviated as a P. So okay, so the money which we are borrowing from somewhere. So the money borrowed for a certain period of time is called the principal. Means suppose if we are taking the loan from the bank, means we are borrowing the money from the bank. That time the money which is borrowed, which is taken as a loan is called the principal. So this is the principal and it is written as a P. And the next is the interest. So the extra money paid by the borrower to the money lender or the bank for the use of the money borrowed is called the interest. So it is abbreviated as I. So means the extra money paid by the borrower to the money lender or the bank is called the interest. Means suppose if we are borrowing 100 rupees from a person and after a certain period of time we are returning back 120 rupees to him, means 120 rupees to him, that time the extra 20 rupees was paid by us is known as a interest. Okay, now next the amount. So the total money paid back to the money lender is called the amount. It is abbreviated as a P. Means just now I had taken the example of the 100 rupees, means we had borrowed 100 rupees from a person and after that, after certain period of times we are returning back 120 rupees to him. That time that 120 rupees is called the amount. Means the total money paid back to the money lender is called the amount. So it is abbreviated as A. So amount can be written as amount is the sum of the principal. Principal means that money which we had taken as a loan and then plus interest, which means which extra money we had paid. The addition of these two values is called the amount. So in this case the amount is principal plus interest. So we can also write on this one as A is equal to P plus I. And the next is the time. So time is also important term here. You can see it is the period for which the money is borrowed or lent. It is written as T. So means for how much time we are taking the money, that is called the time period. Means suppose we are taking the money, we are borrowing the money for 3 years and after the 3 years we have to return back the money. That time 3 years is the time period. If we are taking the money for the 5 years, that time the 5 is the time period. So means the time period for which the money is borrowed is called the time period. So it is written as a T. And the last is the rate of interest. So the interest paid on rupees 100 for the 1 year is called the rate percent per annum. So in this case it is also written as R percentage per annum. So means simply we can understand this is the cost of the loan which we are taking. So okay, now see only these are the two formulas that we have to apply throughout this exercise. First formula is to find out the amount. If we want to find out the amount in this case, in this exercise, that time we have to apply this formula, that is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. So after finding the amount, we can find out the value of the compound interest. How we can find out the value of the compound interest? The formula of the compound interest is CA is equal to A minus P. Here you can see A stands for amount, P stands for principal, R stands for rate of interest and N stands for time period. So means if we want to find out the value of the amount, that time we have to apply this formula, that is A is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. And when we are going to find out the compound interest, that time we have to apply this formula, that is CA is equal to amount minus principal. And when we are going to find out the compound interest, that time firstly we have to find out the value of the amount in all the sums, because for finding the value of the compound interest in all the sums we have to find out the value of the amount. Means all the time firstly we have to apply this formula to find out the amount, that is A is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n, and after that we can find out the compound interest. Okay, now I am going to start the sums. With the help of the sums you can easily understand. Okay, now see the first sum. In the first sum you can see the statement is calculate the compound interest on rupees 7,000 at 9% per annum for 2 years. And now in this case you can see in the first sum, this sum is very simple. In this sum we have to find out the compound interest and the principal is given, that is rupees 7,000, and the rate of interest is given, that is 9%, and time period is given, that is 2 years. As I explained to you, in this sum we have to apply the simple formula, and whenever we are going to find out the compound interest, that time first of all we have to find out the amount. Okay, now you can see the solution. In this case, you can see the principal is 7,000. R stands for rate of interest, that is 9% per annum, and T time period is for 2 years. Okay, now we have to find out the amount first of all, and then we can find out the compound interest. And now you can see by formula amount is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. And now in this case you can see A is equal to the value of P, means the value of the principal is 7,000. So put the value of P is here, and then 1 plus R. R is 9%. So put the value 9 here, and then over 100 as it is, and raised to power is n, means raised to power this time period. So in this case the time is 2 years, so means the value of in this case is 2. So put the value of n here, that is 2. And now in the next step you can see this is 7,000 into, we have to take the LCM. 100 into 1 is 100. 100 plus 9 over 100 raised to power 2. And now in the next step you can see 7,000. 100 plus 9, it will become 109 over 100 raised to power 2. And now in the next step you can see 7,000 into 109 over 100 into 109 over 100. Why 2 times I had multiplied these two values? Because of its power is 2. Whenever its power is 3, that time we have to multiply this one for 3 times. But here you can see the power is 2, we have to multiply this term for 2 times. And now you can see these two zeros and these two zeros are cancelled, and this 0 and this 0 is also cancelled. And now 7 into 109 into 109 over 10 is left. Why? Because of, you can see in the numerator 7 and 109 and 109 is left. So write down in the numerator 7 into 109 into 109. And over you can see only 10 is left. So write down 10 over. So in this case now you can see after this you have to multiply the values in the numerator, that is 109 multiplied by 109 multiplied by 7. After multiplication it will become 83,167. So you have to do this multiplication by yourself. You have to do the calculations by yourself for the practice. And now you can see after multiplication it will become 83167 over 10. And now in the next step you can see the 10 is also in the denominator. So here we have to put the decimal by removing this 10. How we can remove this 10? We have to put the decimal here. You can see only 10 has a 1 0. It means after leaving one digit we have to put the decimal. So it will become 8316.7. So I hope this is clear to you. It is very simple. In our previous classes we had learned very well that how we can remove the 100 by putting the decimal, or if the 10 is there, how we can remove this 10. If the 1000 is there, how we can remove the 1000 by putting the decimal. So it will become 8316.7. And now it will become, so it means the value of the amount is 83,316.70. And now you have to see this one carefully. Here you can see after the calculation, only after the decimal there is only a single digit was left, that is 7. But here I had written 70. So whenever we are going to find out the values which are in the rupees, that time we have to take the 2 digits after the decimal. So now you can see only 1 digit was left after solving the sum, but here we have to introduce 0 by ourselves. If no any 2 digits are there, then we have to put the 0. So it will become 8316.70. So this is the value of the amount in this case. So now we have to find out the compound interest. As I had explained you, the formula of compound interest is amount minus principal. So put the value of amount here, that is 8316.70 minus the value of the principal was 7000, and after subtraction it will become 1316.70 rupees. So it means in this case the compound interest is rupees 1316.70. So this is a very simple sum. We have to only apply first of all this formula, that is amount is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised per n, and after solving we have to find out the amount. And after finding the amount, we have to apply this formula, compound interest is equal to amount minus principal, and after putting the values we can find out the compound interest. And the next sum is also very similar to this sum. Now see this one also. Okay, now see the second sum. This is also very similar to its first sum. You can see in this sum, calculate the amount and the compound interest on 10,000 for 3 years at 6% per annum compounded annually. Okay, in this case you can see the principal is given, that is rupees 10,000, and the rate of interest is 6% per annum, and the compound interest we have to find out in this case. And now you can see the time period is also given, that is 3 years. So this is also very simple. First of all, we will find out the amount and then we can find out the compound interest. So now you can see in the solution, you can see the first of all the principal is rupees 10,000, rate of interest is 6% per annum and time is 3 years. And now we have to apply this formula again, that is P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. And the value of P is 1000. So write down this 10,000 here, and then 1 plus the value of R is 6%, that is 6 over 100, and then raised to power 3 is, that is n, and the value of n in this case is 3. So write down this 3, because of here you can see the time period is 3 years, so write down this value 3 here. And now in the next step you can see then 10,000, and then we have to take the LCM. 100 into 1 is 100, 100 plus 6 over 100 raised to power 3, and it will become 10,000 into 106 over 100 raised to power 3. And after this you can see 10,000 into, now this value has a power that is 3, so we have to multiply this term for 3 times, so it will become 10,000 into 106 over 100 into 106 over 100 into 106 over 100. And now you can see these two zeros and these two zeros are cancelled, and now after that we have left with 106 into 106 into 106 over 100. And now see this one carefully, I had not cancelled the terms further. Why? Because of it is very simple to solve this sum whenever we are taking the 100 or the 1000 or the 10 in the denominator, because after that we have to put the decimal here in this case, and no need to divide this term with the, means no need to divide this denominator with the numerator. So it is a very simple sum. Whenever only 100 or 10 or 1000 like is left, then you can take this 100, 10 or 1000 in the denominator as it is, and no need to cancel this one, because of if we are cancelling this one, maybe at after some steps we have to divide the term which was left in the denominator by this numerator, so it will become difficult. So it is good, it is better than you have to take these zeros in the denominator as it is. So that's why you have to do only the multiplication in this case, that is 106 into 106 into 106 over 100. And now you can see in the next step, after multiplying these all three values, it will become 1191016. So you have to multiply the values carefully only, and then you can simply put the decimal here, because of here you can see two zeros are in the denominator, means 100 is in the denominator. So it is very simple to divide this term with the numerator by putting the decimals. And now you can see after multiplication it will become 1191016 over 100. And after that you can see after two digits you can put a decimal, so after this it will become 11,910.16. so here you can see already after the decimal there are two digits, so no need to put any zero here, so it will become, so in this case his amount is rupees 11,910.16. so in this case, now the amount that we had calculated, after this one we have to find out the compound interest, and the formula of compound interest is amount minus principal, and the value of amount is 11,910.16 and the value of principal is 10,000, and after subtraction it will become 1,910.16. so in this case the compound interest is rupees 1,910.16. so this is the solution. Okay, now see the third sum. In this sum you can see a person borrowed 12,000 to purchase a DVD. What is the compound interest and the amount to pay after the 2 years if the rate of interest is 5% per annum? So in this case you can see a man is borrowed 12,000. So in this case this 12,000 is principal, and now the time period is given, that is 2 years, and the rate of interest is given 5%. So even in this case we have to find out again the amount and the compound interest. Okay, now see in the solution you can see here, first of all the value of the principal is 12,000 is given, and the rate of interest is given, that is 5%, and the time period is also given, that is 2 years. So again we have to put the formula, put the values in the formula, and the formula is amount is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. Okay, now see the value of the principal is 12,000, and into 1 plus the value of rate percent is R, that is 5 over 100 raised to power 2. Why 2? Because of here you can see the n stands for the time period and the value of this time period is 2. So after putting the values in the formula it will become 12,000 into 100 plus 1, it will become 100 plus 5 over 100 raised to power 2, and then it will become 12,000 into 105 over 100 raised to power 2. And now in the next step you can see this is for this, it has a power of 2, so it means we have to multiply this term for 2 times, so it will become 12,000 into 105 over 100 into 105 over 100. And now you can see these two zeros are cancelled, and this 0 and this 0 is also cancelled. and after this one you can see this is left, that is 12 into 105 into 105 over 10. And now you can see after multiplication it will become 132300 over 10. And further you can see this 0 and this 0 is also cancelled. And now after this one, this term is left, that is rupees 13,230. So in this case the value of the amount is 13,230. Okay, now we have to find out the compound interest. So now you can see in the case of compound interest, this compound interest is equal to amount minus principal. And the value for the amount is 13,230 minus the value principal is 12,000. Okay, now after putting the values and after subtraction, it will become 1,230. So in this case, the compound interest is rupees 1,230. So this is the solution. Okay, now see the fourth sum. In this sum, you can see Ram took a personal loan for rupees 20,000 from the State Bank of India for 3 years. At the rate of interest is 12%. So in this case, we have to find out the amount paid by him and the total interest. Again, in this case, you can see first of all, the value of the principal is given, that is rupees 20,000. So the value of P is 20,000 and the value of R, that is 8%. This is given, that is 12%, and the time period is given, that is 3 years. Okay, now in this case again we have to find out first of all the amount and then we have to find out the interest. Okay, how we can find out the value of amount? That is A is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. Okay, now see P is 20,000, then 1 plus the value of R is 12 over 100 and the value of n is 3. So now in the next step you can see 20,000 and now we have to take the LCM. 100 into 1 is 100 plus 12 over 100 raised to power 3. And now it will become 20,000 into 112 over 100 raised to power 3. And now you can see here in this case the power is 3, so it means we have to multiply this term for 3 times, so it will become 20,000 into 112 over 100 into 112 over 100 into 112 over 100. And now you can see these two zeros and these two zeros are cancelled, and after this one we are left with 2 into 112 into 112 into 112 over 100, because of in the denominator only 100 is left. And now after multiplying these all four values, it will become 2809856 over 100. And now there is a 100 in the denominator, so after the two digits we have to put the decimal, so it will become 28,098.56. So in this case it means the amount is rupees 28,098.56. So the compound interest is in this case is equal to amount minus principal. So the value of amount just now we had calculated, that is 28,098.56 rupees minus 20,000, and after subtraction it will become 8,098.56. So in this case the compound interest is 8,098.56. So this is the solution. Okay, now see the fifth sum. In the fifth sum you can see a man invests 35,000 rupees at 5% per annum compound interest for 3 years. So calculate the interest for the first year. Okay, now see in this sum, first of all in the statement the principal is given, that is rupees 35,000, and the rate of interest given, that is 5%, and the time period is given 3 years. But in this case you have to see carefully, it has 4 parts, this fifth sum. And in the first sum, it means in the first part of this fifth sum, we have to find out the interest for the first year. So in this case, in the first sum, in the first part, we have to find out only the interest for the first year. So in this case, now you can see carefully in the first part of this fifth sum, the principal is rupees 35,000 is given and the rate of interest is given, that is 5% per annum. And now in this case, the time I had taken 1 year. Okay. Why 1 year? Because of now you can see we have to find out the interest for the first year in this first part. So means we have to find out the interest only for the 1 year. So take this time period is 1 year. Okay, in the next step we have to find out the amount, that is P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. And now you can see the principal is 35,000 into 1 plus R. The value of R in this case is 5%. So 5 over 100, and the value of n in this case is 1. In the next step it will become 35,000 into, now you can see 100 plus 1 is 100, 100 plus 5 over 100, and after that it will become 35,000 into 100 plus 5 is 105 over 100, and now these two zeros are cancelled, and after this it will become 350 into 105, and after multiplication it will become 36,750 rupees. So in this case for the first year the amount is 36,750. So as I explained to you, whenever we are going to find out the interest, first of all we have to find out the amount, and if we are finding the interest for the first year, it means we have to find out the amount for the first year. So in this case, the amount for the first year is 36,750. And now you can see the interest is amount minus principal, and the amount is 36,750 minus principal is 35,000, and after subtraction it will become 1,750. So this is the solution of the first part, means this is the interest for the first year. Okay, now in the next sum, in the next part of the fifth sum, you can see find the interest for the second year. Okay, now we had just calculated the interest for the first year, so again we have to find out the interest for the second year. So whenever we are going to find out the interest for the second year, and we had already calculated the interest for the first year, that time we had already calculated the amount for the first year. And when we are going to find out the interest for the second year, that time we have to change the value of the principal, means the value of the principal will become, that is equal to the amount of the previous year. So see and listen this one carefully. The amount of the previous year means we had calculated the amount for the first year, in this case that was 36,750, then it will become principal for the second year. So I hope this is clear to you. Only this much difference is there whenever we are going to find out the interest for the second year. And if we had already calculated the interest for the first year, that time we have to take the value of the amount of the first year as a principal for the second year. So in this case, the value of the amount in the previous year was 36,750. So it will become the principal for the second year. So now you can see the interest for the second year is principal is equal to 36,750, and again the rate of interest is 5%. And now you can see the time period in this case is also 1 year, because of now again we are going to find out the interest for the second year, and second year also a single year, because of in the first year we had already calculated the interest for the first year, and now we are going to find out the interest for the second year. So it is also a single year, so you take the value of the time period is also 1. And now again we have to find out the amount first of all for the second year. How we can find out the amount? By applying this formula, that is P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. And now put the value of the principal, that is 36,750 into 1 plus R over 100. So in this case R is 5 over 100 and the value of n is 1. And now in the next step you can see after taking the LCM it will become 100 into 1 is 100, and 100 plus 5 is 105 over 100. And after this one, this 0 and this 0 is cancelled, and after doing the calculation it will become 38,587.50 rupees. So in this case the amount for the second year is 38,587.50 rupees. But now we have to find out the interest for the second year, and then the interest, how we can find out? The same formula that we have to apply in this case again, that is interest is equal to amount minus principal. So in this case the amount for the second year is 38,587.50, and then minus principal for the second year, that was 36,750. So put the value of the principal here, and after subtraction it will become 1,837.50 rupees. So in this case the interest is 1,837.50 rupees. So this is the solution for the second part of the fifth sum. Okay, now in the third part you can see in the fifth sum, the third part is the amount at the end of second year we have to find out. Okay, it is already we had found, that is the amount for the second year. So the amount for the second year was 38,587.50 rupees. So it is already we had calculated. So this is the solution of the third part of the fifth sum, that is 38,587.50 rupees. Okay, now see the last part of this fifth sum. The fourth part of this fifth sum is to find the interest for the third year. Again now we have to find out the interest for the third year. So again the same thing that you have to keep in your mind, that is when you are going to find out the interest for the third year, that time you have to take the amount of the previous year as a principal. So in the second year the amount was 38,587.50 rupees. So this was the amount for the second year. So it will become the principal for the next year. So now in this case the principal is 38,587.50 rupees, and the rate of interest is 5%, and the time period is 1 year. Again 1 year, because of we have to now find out the interest for the third year. So third year is also a single year. So it will become amount is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n. And now put the value of the principal, then 1 plus R is 5 over 100. And now in the next step, after taking the LCM it will become 100 into 100 plus 5 is 100, 105 over 100. And after multiplication these two values, it will become 4051687.5 over 100. And after this one you have to put the decimal, so it will become 40,516.875. Okay, now you can see after the decimal there are three digits, but we have to take the answer only in two digits. So now we have to write down this one, it will become 40,516.88 rupees. So we have to increase this digit by 1, so 7 will become 8, so it will become 0.88. So this is the amount in the case of fourth part of the fifth sum. And now you can see we have to find out the interest also. Interest is equal to amount minus principal, and the value of amount is 40516.88 minus 38587.50. So this is the value of the principal for the third year. So after subtraction it will become 1929.37. So this is the solution of the sum. So in the answer it is written here approximate. Why approximate? Because of if there are three digits are left in the answer and we are taking only up to two digits, that time this answer was approximate answer. So after the decimal the values may be very near to the answer, so that's why we are writing this approximate in the answer. So the solution is 1929.37. Okay, now see the sixth sum. In the sixth sum, you can see in the first part of the sixth sum, calculate the compound interest for the second year on 15,000 invested for 3 years at 8% per annum. Okay, now in this sum, you can see we have to find out the compound interest only for the second year. Second year means we have to find out the compound interest for the second year. Means we have to take the value of the n is 2, and the principal is 15,000, and the rate of interest is in this case is 8%. Okay, now you can see in the solution the principal is 15,000 and the rate of interest is 8% per annum, and the time is 2 years. Why 2 years? Because we have to find out the compound interest of the second year. Okay, now in this case no need to calculate the interest of the first year, means we can directly calculate the interest for the second year by applying this formula directly, means by taking the value of the time period is 2. Because of in this case we have to find out the compound interest for the second year, so directly we can take the value of the time period is 2. Because of second year means after the first year the second year, so the total time period will become 2 years. So in this case we can directly apply this formula, A is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power n, and the value of the principal is 15,000, and 1 plus the value of R is 8 over 100 raised to power 2. And now we have to take the LCM, so 100 into 1 it will become 100 plus 8 over 100 raised to power 2, so 15,000 into 108 over 100 raised to power 2. And now you can see it will become 15,000 into 108 over 100 into 108 over 100, and after cancelling the 0 it will become, and after doing some little further calculation it will become 3 into 54 into 108, and after multiplication it will become 17,496. So the amount in this case is 17,496. So this is the solution. And now we have to find out the compound interest, that is amount minus principal. So the amount is 17,496 minus principal is 15,000, so it will become 2,496. So in this case the compound interest is 2,496. So this is the solution. And I had already cleared that, because of many students can think that why we are not solving this sum separately, means the interest for the first year and then interest for the second year, because of in this case we have to find out only the interest for the second year. And when we are going to find the interest for the second year, that time we can directly put the values in the formula, and that time we have to take the value of the time period is 2 years. So this is the solution of the first part. And okay, now see the second part of this sum, the sum due at the end of the third year. So in this case we have to find out the amount at the end of the third year. So what is the amount at the end of the third year? We have to find out this one. Sum due means the amount, and again we can apply the same formula. So we can take the principal 15,000, rate of interest 8%, and in this case we can take the time period 3 years, because of we are taking the principal 15,000 in this case. That was the starting value of the first year, that was 15,000, means this principal was the principal of the first year. So if we are taking the principal 15,000, that time we can take the time period is 3 years. So in this case the principal is 15,000, rate of interest is 8%, and the time is 3 years. And now again we have to find out the amount first of all, that is p into 1 plus r over 100 raised to power n. So in this case we have to find out only the amount, because we have to find out the sum due at the end of the third year, means we have to find out the amount here. So after putting the values, it will become 15,000 into 1 plus the value of r is 8 over 100 raised to power 3, time period is 3. And now in the next step, 100 into 1 is 100 plus 8 over 100 raised to power 3. So it will become 108 over 100 raised to power 3. So it will become 15 into 108 over 100 into 108 over 100 into 108 over 100. And after this, these two zeros and this zero is cancelled. And further, when we are cancelling the terms, after this one it will become 3 into 108 into 54 into 108 over 100. And now we have to multiply all these values. It will become 1889568 over 100. And after this one we have to put the decimal after the leaving the two digits, so it will become 18,895.68. So in this case the amount is rupees 18,895.68. So the sum due at the end of the third year is rupees 18,895.68 rupees. So this is the solution of the sixth sum. Okay, now see the seventh sum. In the seventh sum, you can see Mohan borrowed rupees 30,000 for 3 years at 15% per annum compound interest. Calculate the interest during the end of the second year. Okay, now in this case, you can see we have to find out the interest during the end of the second year. So in this case, again, we have to take the time period of 2 years, because of in this case, we have to find out the interest of the second year. Okay, now you can see the principal is given, that is rupees 30,000. Rate of interest is 15%. And the time period, as just now I had explained to you, we have to take 2. Why? Because of we have to calculate the interest of the second year, that is time period is 2 years. Okay, now put the values in the formula. After that it is very easy to find out the amount, that is p into 1 plus r over 100 raised to power n. 30,000 into 1 plus 15 over 100 raised to power 2. 30,000 and 100 into 1 is 100 plus 15 over 100 raised to power 2. And it will become 30,000 into 115 over 100 into 115 over 100. And this 0 and this 0 and this 0 zeros are cancelled. And it will become 3 into 115 into 115. After multiplication, it will become 39,675. So in this case, the amount is 39,675. So then the interest during the end of the second year will become amount minus principal, and the amount is 39,675 minus 30,000. So after the subtraction, it will become 9,675. So this is the amount at the end of the second year. So whenever we are going to find out the amount of or the interest of the second year of the third year, then directly we can apply this formula. So this is the answer. Okay, now see the last sum of this exercise, that is 8th sum. So you have to see this sum carefully, because of this sum is little bit different than the previous sums. Okay, now in this sum you can see a person invested 6,000 rupees for the 2 years at a certain rate of interest compounded yearly. If the sum amounts to rupees 6,540, then find out the rate of interest and the amount at the end of the second year. Okay, now in this case we can see rate of interest is not given. So in this sum we have to find out the rate of interest. Okay, in this sum you can see the principal is given, that is 6,000, and the amount is given, that is 6,540. But this amount is of the 1 year, means this amount is at the end of the first year. It was given, you can see the sum amounts to 6,540 at the end of the 1 year. So now you have to see this one. With the help of these values we can find out the value of the rate of interest. First of all, you can see the value of the principal is 6,000 is given, and the amount is given, that is 6,540. And now you can see the principal and the amount is given, but this amount is at the end of the 1 year, so you have to take the time period of 1 year. So this is only the thing that you have to see. The principal is given, that is rupees 6,000, and the amount is given, that is 6,540. But this amount is at the end of the 1 year, at the end of the first year, so you have to take the time period of 1 year. So now you have to apply the formula in this way. Earlier we are taking this amount in the left hand side, and this formula, this side is on the right hand side. But this time we have to take this whole side on the left hand side and this amount on the right hand side. Why? Because of in this case we have to find out the value of r. Okay, now you can see the principal is 6,000 into 1 plus r over 100 as it is, because of we don't have any value of this r, and the power n, that is for time period, and the time period is 1, so write down this 1 as it is equal to the amount is 6,540. And now in the next step, you can see it will become 6000 into 1 plus r over 100 is equal to 6540. And in the next step, you can see you have to write down this 1 plus r over 100 as it is on the left hand side and take this 6000 in the right hand side. When we are taking this 6000 in the right hand side, then it go into the denominator. Why? Because of here this is in a multiplication. So if there is no any sign is between the terms, then it is already understood that this 6000 is in the multiplication. So now we have to take this 6000 in the denominator. And after this one, after cancellation, it will become this 0 and this 0 is cancelled, and further these two values are divided by 6, and after cancellation it will become 1 plus r over 100 is equal to 109 over 100. And now in the next step you have to see this one carefully. Now this 1 is adding with this r over 100. So when we are taking this constant of 1 in the right hand side, that time its sign will be changed. So now you can see here this 1 has a plus sign, and when we are taking this 1 to this side, then it will become minus 1. And now it will become r over 100 is equal to 109 over 100 minus 1. And now in the next step it will become 100 r over 100 is equal to 109 minus 100 into 1 is 100 over 100. And next step, in the next step you can see r over 100 is equal to 109 minus 100, it will become 9 over 100. And further now we have to take this 100 which is in the denominator. When we are taking to this side, it will go in the numerator. So it will become 9 over 100 into 100. And 100 and 100 is cancelled. So in this case the value of r is 9. So it means the value of the rate of interest in this case is 9%. So with the help of these two values, we can find out the value of this rate of interest, that is 9%. Okay, now see its second part. Okay, in the second part, you can see we have to find out the amount at the end of the second year. So now, just now we had calculated the value of the rate of interest. Now we can easily find out the amount at the end of the second year. Means now this time we are again starting with the value, that is the value of the principal, that is 6000, and the rate of interest just now we had calculated, that is 9% per annum, and the time period in this case is 2 years, because of we are going to find out the amount at the end of the second year. And now the formula is very simple, that is p into 1 plus r over 100 raised to power n. So now put the values in the formula. P is 6000 into 1 plus the value of r is 9 over 100, and the time period, the value of n is 2, so put the value here, that is 2. And now in the next step it will become 6000 into 100 plus 1 is 100 plus 9 over 100 raised to power 2, and then it will become 6000 into 109 over 100 raised to power 2. So next step you can see 6000 into 109 over 100 into 109 over 100. And now these two zeros and this 0 is cancelled. So after this one it will become 6 into 109 into 109 over 10. So after multiplication it will become 71,286 over 10. And now we have to put the decimal here. It will become 7128.6. So in this case again the amount is rupees 7128.60 rupees. So the answer is amount is rupees 7128.60 rupees. So dear students, I had explained all the sums of this exercise. Now you have to do all these sums by yourself. Still, if you find any difficulty, then you can call me. Also, you have my contact number. So till then, stay healthy and learn mathematics. Thank you.